Monday through Friday.
Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of your number one show on television, People's Voice on VOP Television, where the stories that matter most take center stage as we continue to amplify your voices, concern stories, and perspective as ordinary or everyday Nigerian citizens. That's you and I. I have Adefunke Jaisimi, and today on the show we are going to discuss. There's so many topics to talk about, but issues bordering around Nigerian politics, especially as the ADC coalition tests water with the coming by-elections tomorrow. But before then, let's look into the story as the Canadian Federal Court has upheld a ruling that classified Nigeria's top major political parties, the All Progressives Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP, as terrorist organizations under Canadian law. The decision was made in the context of an asylum application by Douglas Egbareva, a former member of both parties who joined the PDP in 1999 and later defected to the All Progressives Congress APC in 2007 before moving to Canada in the year 2017 and disclosing his political history. The court's ruling cited the party's involvement in political violence, subversion of democracy, and electoral bloodshed in Nigeria as a basis for its decision. However, both parties have strongly condemned the ruling. The PDP described it as misinformed, biased, and lack evidence. And of course, the party's deputy national youth leader, Timothy Osadolo, argued that the court's decision was unguarded and unnecessary, and that specific allegations against individuals should be the focus rather than sweeping accusations against entire parties. Similarly, the All Progressives Congress APC has also reacted strongly, with Senator Ajibola Bashiru calling Justice Ngo, who delivered the ruling, as an ignoramus. The party maintains that the court's decision was delivered from a jaundiced perspective and that the APC is a credible democratic organization that doesn't seek legitimacy from foreign courts. Well, the implications are very, very important because for people, this ruling could be significant, particularly for Nigerians abroad who have held memberships in either of those parties. And of course, it may also lead to heightened scrutiny, denied visas, and rejected asylum claims not only within Canada, but also potentially other Western democracies. On his part, Olufemi Shoneye, former Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the NNPC Limited, warned that this decision sets a dangerous precedent and could undermine democracy and civil liberties if not pushed back against. For Nigerians abroad, especially for those who have ever held a party membership card, it signals heightened scrutiny, denied visas, and rejected asylum claims. It blurs the vital line between dissent and danger, between governance and extremists. But what are your thoughts? What do you think about this story? Yes, let's move into other news stories. We begin in Benue State, where Yellowater community demands reconstruction after massacre, and Yellowater communities in Benue State is calling on the state government to construct 100 units of two-bedroom flats to resettle displaced residents and also provide shelter for families devastated by the June 13, 2025 massacre. The community leader, Matthew Nyan, made this demand during a press briefing, emphasizing the need for tangible reconstruction efforts using donations made in the wake of the attack. They also requested economic empowerment through cash support to victims and also establishment of a mobile police station to enhance the security of the people. Let's talk about President Tinubu's response to Yellowater massacre, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the Benue State Governor, Father Aliyah, to constitute an inclusive peace committee to restore calm following the massacre in the community. He also said that the committee will comprise former governors, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and non-indigents. Tinubu emphasized that there's need for a collaborative approach to restoring peace and demanded immediate action from security agencies to bring perpetrators to justice. Let's move to the aviation industry. Recent incidents of unruly behavior by passengers on Nigerian flights have sparked public outrage. One noble case involves Comfort Emansin, who was involved in a confrontation with flight attendants on an IBOM Air flight. The incident escalated into physical altercation and was captured on video, leading to her arrest and arraignment. But on his part, the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, intervened and MNC was released from prison after Ibom-Air withdrew its complaint. It's time to talk about political stories now. Senator Tambuwal's encounter with the EFCC has been in the news, and it has also sparked a lot of reaction. But the Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, former governor of Sokoto State, has reaffirmed his commitment to the opposition coalition despite his recent encounter with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Tambuwal was questioned by the EFCC over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals totaling 189 billion naira during his tenure as governor. He claimed that the investigation is politically motivated, hinting that the current Sokoto State administration's probe into his tenure is part of efforts to discredit him. Tambuwal was detained overnight but later released after meeting his bail conditions, which were described as non-stringent. The EFCC has also retained his passport, indicating that the probe is ongoing with the possibility of further questioning. Despite this, Tambuwal vowed to remain steadfast with the Coalition for National Rescue, stating it cannot be intimidated or blackmailed. Tambuwal also criticized the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, referencing the party's reputation for forgiving the sins of his members. He emphasized his commitment to the opposition coalition, stating that it would not be swayed by the EFCC's investigation. Let's talk about the North Central Agenda statement. In a recent another development, the North Central Agenda TNA has defended President Bola Tinubu's administration against claims of marginalizing the North Central region. They cited significant benefits from national budgetary allocations and security expenditures, arguing that the region has not been marginalized. Well, it's left for politicians to do their politicking. There's the part of some northerners coming to say that Bola Tinubu has marginalized the North, and there is another part of the North saying that, for a region that enjoys more than half of the national budget, you can't say that you are being marginalized. But as I say, it's politics, and of course, what matters to Nigerians is governance. Governance gets into everybody. But away from that story, Minister of Information Mohammed Idris has encouraged entrepreneurs in the Southeast to utilize the federal government's 200 billion naira intervention funds to boost their businesses and also promote locally made products. He emphasized the importance of taking advantage of government initiatives to drive economic growth and development across the nation. That's another one. It's a plus for people. 200 billion naira support for business owners in the Southeast. So you're hearing it from us right now. So if you need whatever you need to do, make sure you tap into that and grow your business. But that's all we can take on the news at the moment. It's time to talk about these news stories and also get into analysis. But we want to hear from you. We want you to be a part of the conversation. So do well to text us or call on WhatsApp on 090-447-32605. 090-447-32605 is the number to call, and follow us on social media at VOP TV Live. You can also use the hashtag People's Voice on VOP TV to be a part of the conversation, and on YouTube we are Voice of the People TV. Kindly hit the subscribe button, and together let's make our voices heard. Now it's time to go on a break. We'll be back to talk more about the fate of opposition, the coalition ahead of tomorrow's by-election across different different seats that are declared vacant across different states and all. We'll be back to talk more on this. Please stay tuned.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Kiki. Keep watching VOP TV. Thanks.
Hey guys, what's going on? Olumide Oru, the Fresh Prince of Lagos here, and this is VOP TV, guys.
Hello guys, I want you to please keep on watching VOP TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiz Oyetoro. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Shout out to VOP TV.
Very big shout out to the fans and lovers of VOP TV. My name is Tayo Faduro. I'm an actor that you are going to live to love. Keep watching. Cheers.
Hi everyone, so shout out to VOP TV.
course, staying with People's Voice on VOP television. Interesting times are here. I mean, Nigeria is one country that is political all year round. Whether we just concluded an electoral season, we begin the next one almost immediately, and it's no longer news that a lot has been happening in the political space. And a lot of people also have questioned the position of loyalty, and this brings us to talk about Rauf Aregbesola, former governor of Osun State, and the National Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, who has launched a membership drive in Lagos, urging Nigerians to reject the ruling All Progressives Congress APC in the 2027 general election. Aregbesola, who was recently expelled from the APC, claims that the party has failed Nigerians along with the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. And, you know, this has also, this birthed a lot of conversation around loyalty and a lot of conversation around the position of political leaders when it comes to how much access they have within the corridors of powers and maybe when to step back, because a lot of people have reiterated this statement by Aregbesola saying that the All Progressives Congress has failed Nigerians, and people have begun to ask when exactly did this failure started, because it was a part of this party from the get-go, and of course an active player in the late Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, minister for 8 years, and here he is in the ADC as the secretary of the party. But of course, change is a constant thing in life. Whatever will bring Nigerians the kind of democracy we want is what we look forward to. But the African Democratic Congress ADC coalition is actually gearing up for the 2027 general elections with several prominent members vying for key positions. So here is a breakdown of the coalition members and their strengths. From the membership, there is the former Senate President, David Mark, an interim leader of the ADC coalition, who has been said to bring federal reach and influence to the coalition. This has been arguable, as many people have talked about winning elections, but it is what it is. That's where they are right now. There's also the place of Aregbesola, yes, who was former governor of Osun State and the national secretary of the ADC. He has also proven to be an organizer and leader who currently spearhead the membership drive in Lagos State. There is the former vice president and PDP leader Atiku Abubakar, who is a strong contender for the presidential ticket with significant influence within the ADC coalition. And of course, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, who is credible candidate according to his supporters with a strong online presence, but faces challenges within the ADC due to alleged marginalization by the party's leadership. And yes, the former Minister of Transportation and ex-governor of Rivers State, who also contested in the APC's primary elections ahead of the 2023 election, Rotimi Amechi, has openly declared his intention in running in the 2027 presidential election, and of course is leveraging his insider knowledge of the APC and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You recall his one-time DG of campaign under the All Progressives Congress. We also have former Kaduna State Governor Nasiru Malam Nasiru El-Rufai. His inclusion to many adds strength to the coalition, particularly in the north. And yes, the embattled former governor of Sokoto State and PDP stalwart Aminu Tambuwal. Many have said that his experience and influence in the northwest region could be crucial for the coalition's success. But of course, all of this will not happen by mere talks. There's the place of having so much to talk about. There is the place of having quality contenders in elections and, of course, testing waters ahead of the by-elections. So the ADC will test the strength against the APC in upcoming by-elections in 14 states, covering 2 senatorial districts, 5 federal constituencies, and 9 state constituencies. Aregbesola in these elections, Aregbesola's position is success. If he's able to record success in these elections, particularly in Oyo and Ogun State, could be a crucial step in positioning the ADC for the 2027 presidential election. But, there's a lot that has been said about this coalition, and there are a lot of challenges ahead because despite the coalition's efforts, internal divisions and zoning disputes pose significant challenges, and the ADC must navigate these issues to present a united front and increase its chances of success in the 2027 elections, with everything happening within the party, internal wrangling, and of course, members of the party saying that the party cannot be hijacked. We are here for it. We are here to see how the ADC will be able to survive as a party and also as the vehicle for the coalition. But of course, it's never a one-man show on People's Voice. It's time to get into the conversation and get deeper analysis on these issues, I'm now being joined from Plateau State, Mr. Steve Aluko, a national analyst and, of course, human rights activist who focuses on the well-being of Nigerian citizens and, of course, political matters as it relates to Nigerians. Good afternoon, Mr. Steve Aluko. Welcome to People's Voice.
Good afternoon and happy new beginning to all of us.
Thank you very much, sir. It's always good to have you on the show. Let's talk about the African Democratic Congress. How do you think the ADC will leverage the support of prominent figures to boost its chances in the by-elections and beyond? Can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello? Yes, what I'm saying is that it goes beyond just dropping party logo, party name for election. The credentials of the people that they are putting up, the antecedent of that person, the acceptability of that person, the popularity of that person will count most. Whosoever is also the opposition, that is the candidate either from APC or other party, matters. So it's a matter of the credentials of the candidate that they are presenting. It's not about party. Nigerians have grown beyond party issue. People have realized it from the credentials of the
Mr. Aluko, if you can hear me, the line is breaking. I don't know if we can get better reception so we can hear you better.
Okay, can I hear me better now?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think it goes party logo and party names about the credentials of their own candidate and the credentials of the party and candidate in contesting against candidate. So from 2023, it shows clearly that people can win election on the basis of their personality and what they represent. And I think that is what we may be seeing in this by-election across the zone and across the state, and then beyond that, as they prepare for the 2027 election. So it has to do with the candidate that they are presenting. It's not much about the party. It's about the candidate that all the party will be presenting and which of them is most acceptable and more grounded within the structure, within the people.
Okay, this question is actually, as a maybe follow-up our reaction to what happened in 2023. I like the fact that you mentioned 2023 because the Labour Party was able to leverage on the support and personality of Peter Obi. And we saw a lot of people won elections who would ordinarily, they don't even have the personality or the popularity to win election. But because of the prominence of Peter Obi at the time, a lot of people were able to win elections. So that's where this is actually coming from. Do you think that the figures in the party this time around, even though at the end of that elections, with 2 years after, there are a lot of people that have said that that wasn't the best way to go because a lot of people have proved, many of them have proven incompetence, and it should be about what people can do. So do you think this will replicate itself in this by-election? We've seen these prominent figures coming to raise the hands of candidates.
It's not about raising hands and the rest. Like I said, drawing from that experience, I quite agree with Nigerian that sees that it's beyond people raising, endorsing, or de-endorsing you. Because at the end of the day, it's about the voters. The preparedness of the voters to cast their vote, to sell out their conscience is a matter of major factor. But as we go to the election, that an individual, no matter how popular the person is, endorses somebody, we have of less significant impact. Because one, I've not seen much of the campaign in different zones where these by-elections are taking place.
Right.
And I've not seen much of these people coming out clearly to say they are standing for this and that. But like I said earlier on, how the primaries went in different parties, the choice of consensus, and how they are also able to mobilize their supporter will go a long way. And of course, INEC have a key role to play. The 2023 election will have been better off if the INEC have played the umpire role as is expected,
Right.
as as neutral, as
Non-partisan.
unbiased. So even as we go into this election, and if the onus is on INEC to convince Nigeria that they are ready for 2027 election by making sure that they do not allow the misgiving that followed the last election. The process must be transparent, accountable to the people, and on that basis, whoever win will be the candidate of the people. But a lot of factors is coming to play in this election. Sentiment is part of it, religion is part of it, and of great is the personality of the people involved and their credentials and how popular they are in their different area of contestation.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. I mean, in the last election, we also experienced conversation. We had conversations around people, I mean, political parties not being able to prove some cases in court because they didn't even have enough presence across different polling units. And it has also raised concern for the ADC. Do you think the ADC can effectively utilize its resources to train grassroots mobilizers and polling youth agents to ensure representation across boards?
Number
Mr. Aluko, we can't hear you.
It also depends on how. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay, I said moving forward 2027, it depends on how credible their primary is and how acceptable it is to the people of Nigeria. Because Nigerians are the one that will decide at the end of the day. It will go beyond party line, but whichever of the party is able to do Nigeria will carry the day. It will not be a factor of the incumbent or the opposition. It will be a factor of how credible it is. It will also be a factor of the issue of power zoning. Either you like it or not. Like the APC ran themselves to give room to North and South dichotomy. The PDP also have that strand. If ADC is able to galvanize itself along that area, it will give them and choose that they want to go the different way. The response of Nigeria will be totally different from what we're seeing in the last election. So what I'm saying in essence is that how credible primary will matter most at the end of the day. Because what helped other people to win election in 2023 under the Labour Party was the credentials of their party and the fact that they were able to have a primary that was not as rancorous as that of APC and PDP.
So they were able to reach a consensus. They just had a candidate that they, brought forward and said, "This is our candidate."
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's acceptable to everybody, and at the end of the day, there's no breaking of rank within them. They will form a formidable force in the coming election. And let me tell you, like I've said on different platforms and this platform, that your unique event is not a magic that you win election. Right. It has happened before in Nigeria. It can happen again. It depends on your economic policies, your political acceptability, and how inclusive you are able to run the process. So, to a great light, let nobody deceive himself in whatever party he belongs, either APC, PDP, or Labour Party, or any other party, that you just run people aground. It will be the voting of Nigerians versus the other people. And if the Nigerians feel favor with ADC, ADC may just carry the day like that of APC under Jonathan regime. And if it's the other way, who said that people cannot de-endorse whosoever have been endorsed and re-endorse the people that they strongly believe can carry them forward in terms of program, in terms of policy, in terms of acceptability, in terms of building unity and progressive Nigeria, and a more secure Nigeria, both in terms of food security and security of life and property. These are credentials that will play up in the coming election.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. But you've talked about the zoning and how the the PDP and the APC have been able to carry the party. In your opinion, how do you think the ADC might navigate complex zoning disputes and internal divisions within the party? Already, the party has said that zoning is not, the coalition has said that zoning is not on the table at the moment, and it's about credibility and, of course, the idea of rescuing Nigeria. And we know what's happening within the party itself. There are people that have come from other parties to form the coalition, and there are members of the party who are saying that this is not the way to go. So, do you think the ADC will be able to navigate this complex zoning issue alongside internal divisions within the party and be able to come out strong to front a strong candidate ahead of the 2027 elections?
It's just for them to be sincere with themselves and tell themselves the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's also about telling themselves the fact that either you like it or not, the concept of inclusion must be a major factor. And like I said, part of what gave the APC the edge in the last 2023 election is because of the issue of the zoning, the North and South dichotomy. If any party is moving against that, there's undoing of any party, either it's ADC or any other party. And I think for ADC to be more acceptable before the next election, they must be able to come clear and enforce party discipline. And part of the party discipline is to be able to say, this is where we are going. And PDP have set up their own zoning committee.
Right.
There's nothing wrong in ADC doing it early enough, because if you bring anybody other than the southern district, it may be counterproductive. It may just mobilize the whole South in a one sentiment to support a southern candidate no matter where the person is coming from. So it's also very, very important that I'm happy that people are also discussing at the ADC front of one-term agenda and the rest of it. I think party building should go beyond individual. Party building should carry along discipline. Party mobilization. It may be their greatest Waterloo. It may just consume them. The most important thing, if you are saying you want to do something different, you must be seen as being a credible alternative.
Exactly.
In terms of whatever template any other party is bringing on board. Because if they are not careful, they might run themselves aground. And if they mismanage their primary, they may just be repeating what led to the loss of the opposition in the 2023 election. The best they can have is having a southern candidate that will agree to a 4-year term, and on that basis mobilize Nigeria. They will stand a better ground on that. Otherwise, they will just be shooting them.
You've spoken so well. You've talked about party discipline, and of course the ideology of the party is important. But we know that we know the way politicians are, and this is not something that is happening for the first time. We have very prominent politicians who have been who have identified with this coalition. And we know that there are many of these politicians who have ambitions, and it might be difficult to really say who will step down for who, with the ADC already saying that there's nothing of like zoning on their table at the moment. But if you are to suggest or make a suggestion for the African Democratic Congress, what strategies will you advise them to employ to differentiate themselves from the ruling All Progressives Congress and, of course, the other opposition parties? I mean, right now, most of the opposition parties in Nigeria are in disarray, and it doesn't feel like they are going to be fully resurrected before the 2027 election. So what opportunities do the ADC have? What should stand them out, and what can they do to differentiate themselves from other opposition parties and even the All Progressives Congress, so they can be a credible alternative to Nigerians?
Let me tell you something, that before the 2014 conference, I used to believe that zone. But when I realized that 28 states are having the challenge out of 36 states and federal capital, any party that wants to win election, you cannot wish it away. It's part of the concept of inclusion. It's part of concept of federalism. It's part of concept of and I can tell you, any of the, not just ADC, those are against
Mr. Adluko, your audio is, I mean, is faint. We can barely hear you at this point.
Should be promoting and the part hello?
Please take that again. Your audio went faint at some point and we couldn't hear what you were saying. Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello? I can hear you now.
Okay, I said you should please take your last position again. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, what I'm saying is that any party that does not represent satisfaction and the foolery game before the election, because people are waiting to see, and either you like it or not. Part of what gave it to APC in the last election, either they rig it or not, was the acceptability that power should go south. Any party that is serious in the next election that does not respect that agreement may be promoting anti-party activity within its member and may also be furthering the sentiment against whatever party that became. Whatever rescue mission anybody is bringing, either in APC, PDP, or ADC, or any other party, that issue of party mobilization for zoning, party respect for affirmative character or federal character and federalism must be so respected. Otherwise, that will be the ground on which they were going to lose the.
Okay.
And at the end, they lose on the ground that they are not respected. People will definitely protest and revolt.
True. So it's very important that this has been considered. But let's look at the by-elections that will be happening tomorrow. Can the ADC build on its current popularity? I mean, yes, the numbers might not be the biggest at the moment. We've seen videos of Aregbesola in Osun State. The numbers weren't quite impressive. We've seen Rotimi Amechi in his hometown in Rivers State. The numbers weren't impressive. And of course, Nasiru El-Rufai was in a video. We saw his video yesterday. I mean, we can count the number of people in attendance. But of course, the party is gaining popularity, is becoming something that Nigerians are beginning to get used to. How we welcome it is now maybe a personal decision. But with everything being done now, with Nigerians seeking credible alternative to align with, can the ADC build on this current momentum and test the strength in tomorrow's by-elections? Do you think, or do you see the ADC winning a lot of elections tomorrow, noting that they have just one member in the House of Representatives?
First and foremost, to say that tomorrow's by-election is not a test ground for any of the party. It is just a preparatory ground. And the fact that you didn't see much crowd, we all know that people have paid the crowd, paid agitators and the rest. But beyond that, it may not be the greatest ambience to celebrate, or because as we move it's going to govern, different parties will galvanize themselves in different programs and the rest of it. So the by-election tomorrow is not a regime for ADC or any party in opposition. It's just that they are fielding candidates for fielding purpose. It's possible they win. It's possible they
all right.
Not be the mechanism to decide what will happen in 2027.
Okay, I like that they are fielding candidates, and of course, the people would decide who wins election.
It's not.
But how will the ADC ensure alignment among its coalition partners, particularly in light of potential zoning disputes like we highlighted earlier, and candidate selection challenges? Because a lot of Nigerians are projecting this. A lot of Nigerians, when you have a lot of people with interest, desperate might not be the word, it might be out of desperation to rescue Nigerians, like they say. But when you have a lot of people with interest within the same political party, it becomes a concern for people that have seen them as an alternative vehicle to run on right now. So what is the one thing that the ADC can do to ensure alignment among its coalition partners, particularly around the conversation of zoning disputes and candidate selection challenges?
Number one is that having credible primary, like I've said, that is acceptable to all contestants and their followers. Secondly, is the way and manner they are able to manage the aftermath of the primaries. If they have a choice of the president and they have a good choice of the vice that is able to convince their candidate or their supporter to go to the same line, fine. But if they don't, it will be the greatest political casualty of the time. It may be the death of the party even before the real election. Like I said, they must be able to come out as a party to say, this is where we are going. And if they fail to do that, they must be able to get understanding and undertaking within the defending forces that will save Uhuru. But rescue mission goes beyond sloganizing and personality. Nigerians are wise up now. They are not just going to follow any incumbent. They are not just going to follow any opposition. It will be on the profile
of the candidate,
and that is convincing to the people.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Steve Aluko. We need to go on a break now. I'll urge you to please stay on the line and maybe get a better reception so that we can hear you clearly. But we're going on a break now. When we return, we'll come to talk about the People's Democratic Party who has established zoning committee ahead of the National Convention, which is proposed to hold in November 2025. Please stay tuned. Thank you so much for being a part of People's Voice on VOP television today. We've been having a very serious and interesting conversation where we are looking at the choice of alternative alignment for Nigerians ahead of the 2027 elections and whether the people need to go for political parties, individuals who are contesting, or the ideologies behind these political parties and what the goals are for the Nigerian people eventually. But let's talk about the People's Democratic Party now, who has established a 44-member zoning committee to determine the allocation of key positions ahead of its November National Convention. This move is seen as a crucial one in shaping the party's leadership and electoral prospect over the next 4 years. So, the committee leadership. The zoning committee is chaired by Governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, and with Dauda Lawal, Governor of Zamfara State, serving as the vice chairman, and also the Governor of Plateau State as secretary, Caleb Mufwang. Yeah, the key objectives of the committee. The committee's key objectives include ensuring fairness, equity, and strategic thinking in the zoning process. It aims to strengthen party unity, reward loyalty, and also position the party for electoral victory. The committee will also identify leaders of integrity, creativity, and of course capacity who can inspire confidence and mobilize effectively. So yes, also the convention details. The People's Democratic Party National Convention has been scheduled to take place on 15 to 16 November 2025 in Ibadan, Oyo State. The convention's primary purpose is to elect new members of the National Working Committee, NWC, and the zoning committee's recommendations will be reviewed and approved by the National Executive Committee, NEC, before the convention. So, zoning tradition, I mean, it's a norm now, even though it's not a written rule, but the zoning tradition is something that has been in place in Nigeria for a very long time, and PDP has always, stayed true to that to an extent. So, according to the tradition, the zoning of the chairmanship position will have implications for the presidential ticket as it used to be. And of course, if the chairmanship position is zoned to the north, the presidential ticket will go to the south. So it's time to talk about this also. Let me come back to Mr. Steve Aluko, national analyst, of course, human rights activist, to talk about this zoning of the zoning committee of the PDP and the hope that PDP will come alive before 2027 general elections. Mr. Steve Aluko, can you hear me? Are you there, sir? All right. Mr. Luko, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please say something. Okay, I guess we have to go on a short break now just so we can work on the network issues. I'll be back shortly. Please stay tuned.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Many thanks for staying with us. Apologies for that technical glitch. I mean, network issues from the angle, on the part of the guest. Mr. Steve Aluko, can you hear me now?
Yes, can.
Okay, let's just move on. Before we went on that break, I was talking about the tradition of zoning in the PDP, and of course, the zoning of the chairmanship position will have implications for the presidential ticket, as it should be. So if the chairmanship position is zoned to the north, the presidential ticket would or should automatically go to the south. But we were supposed to have conversations around how the PDP zoning committee will ensure fairness and equity in the allocation of key positions ahead of the national conventions slated for November 2025. And we know something like this happened before the 2023 election, where Samuel Ortom, former Benue State governor, was also to head a committee who was supposed to make a tough decision. But at the end of the day, that felt like the beginning to the end of the success that the PDP could have recorded at the time. So Nigerians are hopeful. We'll still like to see what will come out of that Ibadan convention, and also the implications of zoning the chairmanship position to the north and how that will affect the party's presidential ticket in the future. The PDP is already looking at options around having a presidential candidate from the south who is willing to run for just a 4-year, one-term presidency, and that was where conversations around bringing Peter Obi back to the party came from, and also a lot of rumors around having the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, come contest in 2027. But all of this will be a tough decision for the PDP to make, and of course, this will also shape the future of the party and how it's going to bounce back into the system. Then also, how will the PDP National Convention in Ibadan shape the party's leadership and electoral prospects over the next 4 years? The choice of the candidates that will emerge even as National Working Committee will also impact how the party will be able to manage its internal issues. But most importantly, the role of the National Executive Committee, the NEC, will also play so much in reviewing and approving the zoning committee's recommendation ahead of the convention. There's a place of having a committee. There's a place of this committee submitting their recommendations, and most importantly, there's the part of the NEC adopting this recommendation and implementing it. So if the PDP is able to pull this through and maybe have a successful convention, then maybe Nigerians can say that the PDP is ready, and maybe we might be looking towards the People's Democratic Party as an alternative in 2027. But that's the much we can take on People's Voice today. It's been a very interesting conversation with Mr. Steve Aluko, national analyst, and of course, human rights activist, who joined us live from Plateau State to analyze national issues with us on People's Voice. But yes, that's how we say goodbye. It's a weekend, and I hope that you have an amazing weekend. My name is Adefunke Jaisimi. And no matter what the situation is right now, I strongly believe in this project, Nigeria. Nigeria will survive and be great again. Good evening.